the Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, transforming advancement in the new normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media, crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies thematically layered in drama plays, which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
It's Tangkub, Tangkub, Tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tangkub na.
Hello, Grade 7 learners. Welcome to another episode of Learning English in a fun and easy way. Are you ready for our new lesson today? I hope you are. First, let me ask you, do you have a favorite song? I'm sure you do. But do you know that there are two possible reasons why you like to listen to that song? Yes, you heard it right, learners. It's either you love the rhythm or the lyrics mean something on you. If you find both reasons applicable, then you are a great listener. You might be wondering, how do we determine the worth of ideas mentioned in the text? To learn more, let us watch or listen to this audio or video presentation.
Today, we will be learning how to determine the worth of ideas mentioned in the text lesson 2. In order to have a deeper understanding about this lesson, let us first define these significant terminologies. Listening is purposeful and focused rather than accidental. It requires an active, focused, and concentrated attention for the purpose of understanding the meaning expressed by a speaker. How to listen? There is no doubt that effective listening is extremely an important life skill. Why is listening so important? Listening serves a number of possible purposes, and the purpose of listening will depend on the situation and the nature of communication. How to listen? First, begin by listening carefully to the main ideas so that you can identify the subject. Second, listen for keywords to help you remember details. You might want to take down important words. One way to remember the important details in the text you are listening is to pay attention to the discourse markers. Discourse markers are words or phrases which a function is to organize discourse. There are some discourse markers emphasizing important ideas. For example, global, significantly, in particular, indeed, especially, importantly, always remember, bear in mind, notably, or take note. Number 3. Consider the tone as the expression of the speaker's attitude towards the subject or to the audience, like joyful, serious, humorous, sad, threatening, formal, informal, pessimistic, or optimistic. And the last one, think about what you are listening to. Sorting out or arranging the main ideas in your mind helps you identify the points to remember. Try to jot down the main points. Go over the speech from beginning to end. Then, recall details. This time, how to determine the worth of ideas mentioned in the text lesson 2. Speakers can create hundreds of ideas, but not all of these ideas are worth to remember. Most of them give introductory statements that are not so important to their main topic. They are just flowery words that give life to the speech. To determine the worth of an idea, we should look at, first, how rare it is, and second, how worth keeping it is. Please be guided by the following questions every time you look for the worthy ideas of the text you listen to. First, what is the topic of the listening text? Second, what is the important idea presented in the text? Third, what helped you determine the worthy ideas presented? By discourse markers that emphasize a point, or by the tone of the speaker's voice? Number 4, how is the idea being presented? Explicitly or clearly stated or implied? And the last one is the idea presented worth keeping and worth sharing to others? Why?
This time, kindly watch or listen to an inspirational speech that can be accessed through this link.
It's a great pleasure to be here today to inspire young minds, the future of our country. It brings me joy to see you wearing the best OOTD of the year. I'm very sure your parents are happier than I am right now. Few hours from now, you will start another journey. A wonderful journey begins with a single step. I have always been afraid to step out from my comfort zone. In my 22 years of existence, I have realized I wouldn't be who I am today if I never tried to take risks and get hurt. Life is full of doubts, but always remember not to be afraid. Bear in mind to have faith in yourself that whatever comes along your way, overcoming it is another step forward, another step towards the best version of yourself. At times you feel weak and tired, take rest. Take all the hours you need to heal. But when things get better, you have to get up and get back to the journey you have started. It is very important to be always optimistic. Take note, the one who can bring you to what's ahead of your journey today are your own feet. If you don't have the courage to take another step forward, you will never get there. Indeed, a wonderful journey begins with a single step. But always remember to keep that single step counting. It's not how fast you get there, it's how you keep stepping forward. To my family and to all who believe in me, thank you for making me believe that I can. My journey has not ended yet, and you are the reason and the strength that keep me going. To you, young minds, a bright future is waiting for you. So don't be afraid to take step forward because you have a family you can always count on. Have a wonderful journey.
Determine the worth of ideas mentioned in the text listened to through answering the questions that follow. Number 1. What is the topic of the listening text? Number 2. What is the important idea presented in the text? Number 3. How is the idea being presented? Explicitly or clearly stated, or implied or hidden? Number 4. What helped you determine the worthy ideas presented? By discourse markers that emphasize a point? By the tone of speaker's voice? Number 5. Is the idea presented worth keeping and worth sharing to others? Why? Now, let us give way to these possible responses out of the questions given. For question number 1, what is the topic of the listening text? Very good. The topic of the listening text is about life's wonderful journey. Number 2, how is the idea being presented? Explicitly or clearly stated, or implied or hidden? You are right. The idea is clearly or explicitly presented by the speaker, which is easy to comprehend. Number 3. What is the important idea presented in the text? Yes, Some important ideas presented in the text include being courageous and optimistic and having faith in yourself whatever comes along the way. Number 4. What helped you determine the worthy ideas presented? Exactly. It is through listening to the tone of the speaker's voice, which sounded so inspiring and positive, and through the use of some discourse markers like indeed, take note, most importantly, always remember, and bear in mind. Number 5. Is the idea presented worth keeping or worth sharing to others? Why? Yes, the idea presented is worth keeping and worth sharing because it would surely inspire people to keep stepping forward in order to reach their dreams and goals in life. Great job, learners! Though your answers may vary, I would like to congratulate you for the responses you made to each question. Since you already learned how to determine the worth of ideas mentioned in the text listened to, be extra patient in accomplishing the task, but more importantly, have time to enjoy in answering them. Now, listen to this song and determine the worth of ideas mentioned in the text or in the lyrics listened to through answering the questions that follow.
I can't remember when you weren't there, when I didn't care for anyone but you. I swear we've been through everything there is. Can't imagine anything we've missed. Can't imagine anything the two of us can't do. Through the years, you never let me down. You've turned my life around. The sweetest days I found with you. Through the years, I've never been afraid. I love the life we've made, and I'm so glad I stayed right here with you through the years. I can't remember what I used to do, who I trusted, who I listened to before. I swear you've taught me everything I know. Can't imagine needing someone so. But through the years it seemed to me I need you more and more. Through the years, through all the good and bad, I know how much we had. I've always been so glad to be with you. Through the years, it's better every day. You've kissed my tears away. As long as it's okay, I'll stay with you through the years. Through the years when everything went wrong, together we were strong. I know that I belong right here with you. Through the years, I never had a doubt. We'd always work things out. I've learned what life's about by loving you through the years. Through the years, you never let me down. turn my life around. The sweetest days I found with you. Through the years, it's better every day. You've kissed my tears away. As long as it's okay, I'll stay with you through the years.
Number 1. What is the topic of the listening text? Number 2. What is the important idea presented in the text? Number 3. How is the idea being presented? Explicitly clearly stated, or implied or hidden? Number 4. What helped you determine the worthy ideas presented? By discourse markers that emphasize a point, or by the tone of speaker's voice? Number 5. Is the idea presented worth keeping and worth sharing to others? Why? Congratulations, learners! You are now done with your lesson on how to determine the worth of ideas mentioned in the text listened to. Let us now try to check your understanding by answering the following activities. Kindly get your activity sheets and do the tasks.
Activity directions. Listen to an inspirational message that can be accessed through this link. Then answer the questions inside the idea bulb chart.
Listening should not be taken for granted. Equipping yourself with the right listening skill will help you become a better student or a better friend. Moreover, people will find you as intelligent and perceptive, and it can improve your public speaking abilities. Have a great time, learners! Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been your English teacher, Miss Grace, still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkub.
Good day, our beloved grade 7 learners. Today is another wonderful day to learn something new in carpentry. Welcome to another episode for 4th quarter of Ang Tangkub, TV-based instruction. I am Lauren Gripo Paunilian, your learning buddy for today. Today's learning competency is to request appropriate materials, tools, receiving and inspecting materials in carpentry. Requesting and checking the received tools and materials used in carpentry are the basic knowledge that every carpentry student should learn. Safety and quality of work are very necessary when doing your job. Therefore, proper checking must be done to determine the defect of the tools before using and assure the materials coincide with the description. Knowing how to request and inspect tools, materials will help you understand the concept on how carpenters acquired these tools and materials. This will help you to become a skillful carpenter someday. At the end of this lesson, you will know how to request appropriate materials, tools, receiving, and inspecting materials in carpentry. Now, kindly get your self-learning materials in TLE Carpentry 7. Since everybody has already their printed self-learning materials, now let us start our lesson for today. Are you ready, grade 7 learners? Very good. Let's start. Requisition procedure. The information that follows will teach you how to accomplish the minimum order to acquire materials. First, state the name of the project and date when you requested for materials. Second, fill in the classification of the project and its purpose. Third, write the number of available materials. Fourth, list the unit of materials to be requested. And fifth, enumerate the materials with their description. Sixth, list the cost per unit and the total cost. Second to the last, write your name as requester. And eighth, secure the approval of authorities concerned. Now, what is requisition form? It is a list of all things needed in a project together with their descriptions, sizes, and prices. Now, there are parts of requisition form. First, quantity tells that the number of materials to be purchased. Unit gives the measure of materials to be purchased. Third, description state the detailed name of materials. Fourth, the unit cost gives the price of each material. And the last one is the amount, the cost of all materials. Now, how to check materials and tools received? In acquiring materials, it is important that you inspect and check them for defects and damage so they can be replaced. In addition, you need to handle them carefully and store safely so they can well last. Now first, check if the materials and tools are complete in terms of quantity and specification, like number of pieces, length, and width. Number 2, check the working condition of each material and tool. Third, check the accessories of each material and tool. See to it that nothing is missing. Fourth, if any of the materials or tools is found missing or defective, report immediately to the supply officer or teacher. Fifth, get a replacement for the materials and tools if found defective. Sixth, sign the requisition form as you receive materials and tools. 7. Store the received materials and tools in a safe area or store to a room nearest to your workplace. 8. Always handle the materials and tools carefully. Now, how to fill up again the requisition form? Next, fill up the quantity, like for example, 2 unit kilos. Description, common nails, number 1. Unit cost 60, the amount 120. Now, you already know how to request appropriate materials, tools, receiving and inspecting materials in carpentry. Let us now proceed to our drill. Are you ready? I want you to look your printed self-learning materials and go to activity 1. So this time, find your partner to do the next activity. Do you have partners already? Very good. Now let us identify carpentry materials and its function. I want you to look again your printed self-learning materials and go to the next activity. Are you done? Very good. I guess everybody understand well our lesson today. So this time, for your activity, you go again to your printed self-learning materials and answer the assessment. Take your time in answering your activity, grade 7 learners. If you have questions or clarifications regarding the activity, do not hesitate to ask your TLE teacher. Again, I am Lauren Gripo Paunilian, your learning buddy. God bless everyone.
Hello, Grade 8 Star learners! It's another wonderful day to learn the fun and easy way from today's episode of your one and only educational TV and radio program in Tangub City, Ang Tangkub. Dear learners, how do you feel today? Ecstatic? Happy? Bored? Sad? Melancholic? Do problems keep on coming? Piling up? Do they seem never to end? In reality, we are surrounded by problems. At times, we may feel discouraged, alone, and abandoned. But do we recognize that we are always bigger than our problems and that there are countless solutions for us to overcome them? Likewise, in writing, at times, we write about problematic issues that overwhelm us and even our readers. How then do we organize our compositions to allow our readers to grasp the solutions to these problems? Pay attention, because that is what this episode is all about. For this week's lesson, you will be expected to use appropriate grammatical signals and expressions suitable for problem solution pattern of idea development. Knowing these things will allow you to present solutions to problems that is easily grasped and understood by your readers, allowing them to recognize solutions to problems and issues that we are all facing and perhaps experiencing. Before the lesson ends, you will do some activities that will require you to use appropriate grammatical signals and organize some information in writing a paragraph using problem solution pattern of idea development.
Last episode, you have learned that there are appropriate grammatical signals and expressions suitable to each pattern of idea development, specifically the claim to counterclaim. This time, we will be learning another pattern of idea development, which is called problem solution.
Yes, we will be learning about the problem solution pattern of idea development. This lesson should help us remember that all the problems that we have, including that of the human race, always have a corresponding solutions.
I want you to learn significantly about this lesson, so do lend me your undivided attention and let's learn these significant terms. Grammatical signals are writing devices that serve to maintain text coherence. They are also called in different names such as signal words, transitional markers, or cohesive devices. On the other hand, pattern of idea development in writing refers to the particular strategy writers use to develop ideas. Problem solution pattern in writing divides information into two main sections, one that describes a problem and one that describes a solution. This pattern is typically used in persuasive writing, where the writer's general purpose is to convince the reader to support a certain course of action. In the problem section, the writer identifies the different aspects of the problem, being discussed and offers evidences to these problems. In the solution section, the writers identifies a potential solution and supports the effectiveness of the solution over others. For example, suppose a writer's stated purpose is to convince the reader to ride a bicycle as their primary source of transportation. First, the writer will attempt to establish that common form of motorized transportation create compelling problems that require a solution. Then, he or she will show how the supposed solution, riding bikes, provides a beneficial alternative to riding. This is an example outline of a problem-solution essay. Problem solution example. Number 1. First, the problem is motorized transportation with its compelling problems. Number 1. Increasing traffic congestion. Number 2. Increasing population. And the third one, increasing road rage from traffic-related stress. So the solution is riding bicycles. What are the evidences? First, bike riding reduces the number of motorized vehicles in use. Second, bike riding is not a source of pollution. And the third one, bike riding has physical and psychological health benefits.
This time, let us also learn some of the common grammatical signals and expression to use in a problem-solution pattern of idea development. Signal words and phrases. Problem, solution, dilemma, puzzle, because, question, answer, solved, cause, since, as a result of, in order to, so that, led to, issue, advantage, disadvantage. Now, these are some of the common comprehension frames. First, what is the problem? Second, who has the problem? Third, why is it a problem? Fourth, what is causing the problem? Fifth, what solutions have been suggested or tried? Sixth, what are the pros and cons of various solutions? Lastly, number 7, which solutions worked or seem to have the best chance for solving the problem. To help you organize your essay using the problem-solution pattern of idea development, let this serve as your guide. First is introduction. Identify the problem in a nutshell, explain why this is a problem, and mention who should be concerned about it. Next paragraph should contain the problem paragraphs. In here, you would explain the problem clearly and specifically. Demonstrate that this is not just a personal complaint, but a genuine problem that affects many people. Next, succeeding paragraphs would be the solution paragraphs. Offer a concrete solution to the problem and explain why this is the best one possible. You may want to point out why other possible solutions are inferior to yours. If your solution calls for a series of steps or actions to be followed, present these steps in a logical order. Lastly, conclusion. Re-emphasize the importance of the problem and the value of your solution. Choose a problem that you have experienced and thought about, one that you have solved or are in the process of solving. Then, in the essay itself, you may use your own experience to illustrate the problem. However, don't focus all the attention on yourself and your troubles. Instead, direct the essay at others who are experiencing a similar problem. In other words, don't write an essay of how I cure the blues. Write your essay on how you can cure the blues.
Now let's have an example. Let's refer to the list of information about motorized transportation shown in the outline for us to form a paragraph using problem-solution pattern. The first element is the introduction, which introduces the problem. From the given information, what is the problem? Yes, it is motorized transportation. Do all readers understand what is motorized transportation? No, not at all. So for the introduction, let's consider defining the problem. Why is it a problem? And who has this problem? The introduction may be, Motorized transportation is the use of power-driven vehicles propelled by engines or motors like motorcycles, rickshaw-mobiles, tricycles, cars, jeepneys, taxis, buses, and tracks for both public and private transportation. Although it has made transportation easy, fast, and comfortable, it has led to a series of related problems and concerns faced especially by those living in urban cities. Now, let's have a problem. The problem may be composed of more than one sentence. To form this, let's consider the listed information in the outline under problem and some of the guide questions. For the listed information, we have these. Number 1, increasing traffic congestion. Number 2, increasing pollution. Number 3, increasing road rage from traffic-related stress. For the guide questions, let's consider these. Number 1, who has the problem? Number 2, why is it a problem? Number 3, what is causing the problem? The problem part of the paragraph is, for instance, smoke coming from these vehicles cause air pollution. With the convenience offered by motorized transportation, more people opt to commute in motorized vehicles even for short distances, congesting streets and highways, causing traffic jams, which often result to road rage and traffic-related stress among many motorists, commuters, and pedestrians. Take note that the grammatical expressions problems and concerns has been used in this part of the paragraph. It also uses an illustrative grammatical expression, for instance. Since we are done organizing the problem, let's organize the solution, which may also be composed of more than one sentence. Let's consider these information. Riding bicycles. Number 1, bike riding reduces the number of motorized vehicles in use. Number 2, bike riding is not a source of pollution. Number 3, bike riding has physical and psychological health benefits. And these are the guide questions. Number 1, what solutions have been suggested or tried? Number 2, what are the pros and cons of various solutions? Number 3, which solutions worked or seem to have the best chance for solving the problem? Let's put the solution this way. To solve these concerns, motorists and commuters alike may consider riding bicycles for short-distance commutes instead. Although it is slower and somehow tiring and time-consuming, riding bicycles reduce the number of motorized vehicles in jam-packed streets and highways, decongesting traffic jams and minifying traffic-related stress at the same time. Since bicycles do not produce smoke, riding bicycles do not cause air pollution. Lastly, riding bicycles is a good form of exercise, which is beneficial to both physical and psychological health. Notice that the solution uses a grammatical expression to solve, which signals a solution. Additionally, it also uses the grammatical expression lastly. Now, it's time to conclude the paragraph. Let's have it this way. Although riding bicycles may not be a grand idea, it is a solution that anyone can definitely do in order to solve the problems caused by motorized transportation. The conclusion is signaled by the grammatical signals solution and definitely. Let's now put the parts together to form the paragraph. The paragraph is: motorized transportation is the use of power-driven vehicles propelled by engines or motors like motorcycles, rickshaw-mobiles, tricycles, cars, jeepneys, taxis, buses, and tracks for both public and private transportation. Although it has made transportation easy, fast, and comfortable, it has led to a series of related problems and concerns faced especially by those living in urban cities. For instance, smoke coming from these vehicles cause air pollution. With the convenience offered by motorized transportation, more people opt to commute in motorized vehicles, even for short distances, congesting streets and highways, causing traffic jams, which often result to road rage and traffic-related stress among many motorists, commuters, and pedestrians. To solve these concerns, motorists and commuters alike may consider riding bicycles for short-distance commutes instead. Although it is slower and somehow tiring and time-consuming, riding bicycles reduce the number of motorized vehicles in jam-packed streets and highways, decongesting traffic jams and minifying traffic-related stress at the same time. Since bicycles do not produce smoke, riding bicycles do not cause air pollution. Lastly, riding bicycles is a good form of exercise, which is beneficial to both physical and psychological health. Although riding bicycles may not be a grand idea, it is a solution that anyone can definitely do in order to solve the problems caused by motorized transportation. Now let's have another example for us to really understand how to use grammatical signals for problem solution pattern. Problem: not drinking water or any liquid within the next 8 hours. Number 1. Body becomes dehydrated while you sleep. Number 2. Body organs need fluids to function while you are sleeping. Number 3. Lack of water can make you feel drained, exhausted, and experience tiredness and mood swings. Solution: drink water. Number 1. Drinking water upon waking up fires up your energy for 90 minutes. Number 2. Water helps the body flush out toxins, especially through the kidneys. Number 3. Brain tissues need to be hydrated enough to function well. Let's have first the introduction. According to the list of information, the problem is not drinking water or any liquid within the next 8 hours. So let's put the introduction this way. Have you ever imagined not drinking water or any liquid within the next 8 hours? The next part of the paragraph is the problem. Let's refer to the list of information and organize it this way. This is what you basically do while you sleep. This is what you basically do while you sleep. The problem is your body becomes slowly dehydrated because it needs fluid for the body organs to function while you are sleeping. Moreover, because of the lack of water, you can feel drained, exhausted, and experience mood swings. The grammatical signal, the problem is used in this part of the paragraph. The second part of the paragraph is solution. Once again, let's refer to the list of information for us to organize the solution. So this is how we organize it. To prevent these, you can drink a large glass of water upon waking up, which can fire up your energy up to 90 minutes. It also helps your body flush out toxins, especially through your kidneys. Since the brain tissue is 75% water, it needs to be hydrated enough to function well. The solution is signaled using the grammatical signal in order to. We are now in the last part of the paragraph. This is how we will organize the conclusion. So, would you now start drinking a big glass of water first thing in the morning or drop the idea? The choice is yours. The conclusion uses the grammatical expression so. How then do we organize the whole paragraph? Let's have this. Have you ever imagined not drinking water or any liquid within the next 8 hours? This is what you basically do while you sleep. The problem is your body becomes slowly dehydrated because it needs fluid for the body organs to function while you are sleeping. Moreover, because of the lack of water, you can feel drained, exhausted, and experience mood swings. To prevent these, you can drink a large glass of water upon waking up, which can fire up your energy up to 90 minutes. It also helps your body flush out toxins, especially through your kidneys. Since the brain tissue is 75% water, it needs to be hydrated enough to function well. So, would you now start drinking a big glass of water first thing in the morning, or drop the idea? The choice is yours. Are there any questions about these examples? You have just learned about problem solution pattern of idea development. Don't forget that all the problems that we have and the human race has faced have corresponding solutions. If they seem too overwhelming, look up. The Lord's tender mercies are always upon us. Congratulations for finishing this lesson and have a great time learning English. Let's continue to love, care, and share. This has been Ma'am Ardeth, still here in your one and only educational TV and radio program in Tangub City, Ang Tangkub. Goodbye!
Good day, our beloved grade 8 learners. Welcome to Technology and Livelihood Education in the area of Computer Hardware Servicing. Welcome to another episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. Let's learn ICT together with me as your learning buddy, Ma'am Jean Baguod. Our today's competency for computer hardware servicing is to maintain hand tools. This topic is important for you to have an idea that making sure your devices are properly stored, cleaned, and well-maintained will save you time and money, as well as making your projects and jobs much more comfortable. Useful quality tools can be a significant investment, but they will last longer and return the favor if you take good care of them. All tools and equipment must be properly maintained so that workers are not endangered. Regulations require inspection of tools, machines, and equipment before used. At the end of the lesson, you will maintain hand tools in computer hardware servicing through paragraph form. Before we proceed with our lesson proper, let us first review your knowledge about proper tool selection in doing a specific work. Are you ready, learners? Very good. Direction. Discuss the given questions and answer it properly. Number 1. Discuss the importance of selecting the proper tools in doing a specific work. You're right. The answer is, how do you select the best tool for the job? First, know and understand in detail the scope of work to be accomplished. Second, plan for the scope taking into account the sequence of tasks. Number 2, Selecting the best tool for each task requires training in the proper use of the tools, field experience in their safe use, and following the manufacturer's guidance and instructions for that specific tool. Number 3. When obtaining the tool, all the associated tooling and consumable parts as recommended by the manufacturer must be included. In addition, related consumable parts must also be selected and used according to their manufacturer's instructions. Since you already know well our previous lesson, let us now proceed to our topic today. Preventive maintenance is the systematic care and protection of tools, equipment, and machines in order to keep them in a safe, usable condition, limit downtime, and extend productivity. We must always be aware that maintenance tasks themselves are potentially hazardous and can result in injury. The successful maintenance program is well organized and scheduled, controlled hazards, defines operational procedures, and trains key personnel. How do you clean and maintain hand tools? We have the examples of hand tools: flathead screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, tweezers, flashlight, and needle nose plier. Flathead screwdriver. To prevent injury and keep screwdrivers in shape, do not use a screwdriver as a punch, wedge, pinch bar, or pry. Keep the tip cleaned and sharp to permit a solid grip on the tip of the screw. Keep the handle of the screwdriver cleaned and intact to allow for a solid grip. With your wire brush, scrub the tools to remove dirt and grime. Rinse and repeat until all dirt has been cleared from the tool. Screwdrivers requires no maintenance beyond ensuring that the tips do not become misshapen. Phillips screwdriver. Keep the handle of the screwdriver cleaned and intact to allow for a solid grip. Never hold the piece you're working on in your hand. Always lay on a workbench or place in a vise. Carry screwdrivers in toolboxes or work belts. Never in your pocket. Start by filling the bucket with hot water and a small amount of commercial cleaner. Soak your tools in a bucket for 30 seconds to a minute. With your wire brush, scrub the tools to remove dirt and grime. Rinse and repeat until all dirt has been cleared from the tool. Tweezers. Here are the basics of how to use tweezers and tweezers maintenance. Prior to using tweezers, clean the pads and arms using a cloth or cotton ball and some rubbing alcohol. This will not only ensure easier plucking using less pressure, but by cleaning the arms, handles, you will have a better grip for greater control. Take your tweezers out of your makeup bag and put them in a cup. They should be upright so nothing is rubbing and dulling the sharp edge. Sterilize tweezers after each used with a small amount of rubbing alcohol, using a clean cloth or cotton ball, and then dry well. Flashlight. Store your flashlight in a dry, cool location that's convenient and easy to reach in an emergency or power outage. Do replace the batteries in your flashlight or lantern every few months if it isn't used for extended periods of time. This ensures that it has fresh, working batteries and prevents battery leakage. The simplest and most effective maintenance you can do is to simply wipe the flashlight off after use. This only takes a few seconds but removes moisture and prevents the buildup of dirt and grime, which can be harder to remove later. Just a simple damp washcloth is all you need. Needle nose plier. Rinse with fresh water after each used, especially after use in salt water. Occasionally, treat your pliers with anti-rust spray such as WD-40 or Bush Shield T9. Wipe with cloth and air dry. How to keep your pliers from rusting? Number 1. Clean pliers regularly and wipe them dry every time. Second, avoid leaving pliers outside at night. Third, wipe dry your pliers after used or after cleaning. Fourth, apply a thin coat of machine oil on the metallic parts of your pliers. Number 5, store pliers in a dry place. General requirements for tools and equipment maintenance include the following: obtaining a copy of the maintenance schedule recommended by the manufacturer, ensuring that maintenance is performed as required, ensuring that the persons performing the maintenance are competent, example, licensed mechanic, retaining records of maintenance service conducted, specifying who is responsible for overseeing equipment maintenance and where the records are kept. Set up a system for removal and tagging of damaged or defective tools and equipment. Proper storage of tools, parts, and equipment. Good practices include: parts should be properly stored and labeled. Tools should be properly placed on the board and labeled. Consider drawing the shapes of the tools on the board so that they always get put back in the same position. Use bins for storing small parts. Consider making an individual responsible for the good maintenance of tools and parts. As stated earlier, all tools and equipment must be properly maintained so that workers are not endangered. Regulations require inspection of tools, machine, and equipment before used. Now, class, in order to maintain hand tools, we need to answer the guide questions in terms of cleaning, maintaining, and storing. After answering all the questions, make sure to combine the description to form a paragraph or sentences. Here are the guide questions. A. How to maintain hand tools. B. How to clean hand tools. C. How to maintain hand tools in terms of storing. Example: Phillips screwdriver. A. How to maintain Phillips screwdriver. Answer: keep the handle of the screwdriver cleaned and intact to allow for a solid grip. Never hold the piece you are working on in your hand. B. How to clean Phillips screwdriver. Answer: start by filling the bucket with hot water and a small amount of commercial cleaner. Soak your tools in the bucket for 30 seconds to a minute. C. How to maintain Phillips screwdriver in terms of storing. Carry screwdrivers in toolboxes or work belts, never in your pocket. So this time, I will now connect the answers to form a paragraph on how to maintain Phillips screwdriver in computer hardware servicing. Phillips screwdriver. Keep the handle of the screwdriver cleaned and intact to allow for a solid grip. Never hold the piece you're working on in your hand. Start by filling the bucket with hot water and a small amount of commercial cleaner. Soak your tools in the bucket for 30 seconds to a minute. Carry screwdrivers in toolboxes or work belts, never in your pocket. Did you get it, grade 8 learners? Very good. So, it's your time to shine. Let us proceed to your activity. In your activity, you have to read and follow the instructions given for you to do the said activity. Take your time in answering your activity, grade 8 learners. I hope you have a wonderful experience with me. If you have questions or clarifications regarding the activity, do not hesitate to ask your TLE teacher. Have a good day and God bless everyone.
Hello, grade 9 learners. We are now on our third lesson of quarter 4. It is to take a stand on critical issues brought up in the material viewed or presented. Taking a stand on critical issues is important for students' growth as independent thinkers. Taking a stand on critical issues prepares you to deal with the challenges that you might encounter, which will test your ability on how to make choice and take decisions to things and situations that have significance in your life. This skill would also help you to develop a sound framework to test your arguments and enrich your points of view. At the end of our discussion, you are expected to learn how to take a stand on a critical issue brought up in the material viewed or presented. So listen carefully, learners, because in your activity, your task is to view or listen to various materials and take a stand on critical issues brought up in the material viewed or presented through answering some questions. Let me first show and describe the picture of our Mother Earth holding a photo and memories of her past. What does the picture or description suggest? Exactly! Due to abusive acts of man to nature, our Mother Earth is devastated. She was reminiscing the good old photos of her beautiful self that is only present in memories. She dreamed that her beauty will be redeemed and restored. If you have noticed, our dear learners, we were able to express our opinion based from the details of the photo. By doing so, we are already taking a stand on a critical issue brought up in the material viewed or presented, particularly on issues concerning the environment. Moreover, just like our Mother Earth, we also have dreams in life. We are also longing for things or memories in the past which we dream to hold to this time. Now, can you name some issues around you that you considered critical? Exactly! Some of these are war on drugs, territorial dispute, teenage pregnancy, same-sex marriage, and a lot more. When can we say that an issue is critical, learners? That's right. We can say that an issue is critical when it affects many people. However, it also depends by how people deal with the situation or how people look at a certain issue. It would be wise to take a closer look at the issues involved. Since our lesson is all about taking a stand on various issues, bear in mind that taking a stand means expressing an opinion or adopting firm position about an issue, whether we favor or disfavor it. Let us also learn some tips suggested by Europe, a non-government organization or NGO in Europe, undertake a stand awareness campaign for civic engagement launched in 2017. First, speak up. Engage yourself. Make yourself an effort to express yourself honestly and freely. Second, tolerate and respect. Keep an open mind. Other cultures and other beliefs must be acknowledged and respected. support constructive integration, and start a conversation where it is needed. Third, be open-minded. Explore the world, find out other cultures, listen to foreign music, watch foreign films, read books, experience world cuisine, and strive to understand other people's belief and perspective. Fourth, show solidarity. Show unity with minorities and assist those who need assistance. Volunteer and participate in charitable programs. We are stronger when we work together. Fifth, be active. Don't keep your mouth shut. Raise your voice and use it for good. Taking a favorable or unfavorable stand to an issue involves your skill in decision making. Hence, there are several important factors that you may use as basis for making your decisions. This may include your values, emotion, influence of family and friends, age, lifestyle, occupation, experience, principles, behavior, personality, upbringing, the consequences, your gender, stages in life cycle, education, beliefs, economic status, and others. This time, let us express or take our stand to the critical issue viewed or presented in given picture through answering the given question. The picture is about social media addiction presented by the man carrying on his back a big mobile phone which is chained to his leg. First question, what is your stand to the issue presented? Second, what helped you decide to favor or disfavor the issue? Third, what did you use as a basis in decision making? Fourth, if you would be given the opportunity to talk to someone regarding the issue, whom would you talk to and why? This may be the possible answer, learners. First, what is your stand to the issue presented? As I see the man in the picture carrying on his back a mobile phone chained to his leg, my stand to this is we have to limit ourselves in using social media. Number 2, what helped you decide to favor or disfavor the issue? I had decided not to favor this because the chain and the weight of the big mobile phone represent the consequences we might suffer if we are addicted with this hobby. Our privacy is at stake if we do not put limitations to all the things we personally post in social media. Third, what did you use as a basis in decision making? My basis for making this decision is the consequences it brings. Seeing the effects of social media addiction, particularly among the youth, worries me. Number 4, if you would be given the opportunity to talk to someone regarding the issue, whom would you talk to and why? I would speak to the youth that they should be responsible in using the social media so that they would not suffer its consequences. After answering few questions from the material viewed or presented, it is now your turn to get your activity sheet, learners, and answer the given activities. Good luck! According to John Bell, when an issue that is controversial comes forward, it is an opportunity to define one's thinking about it. If one hasn't thought much about the topic, then sharing this information is also a way to define a self. It is not the position one takes that is important. It is the way one defines oneself in the midst of anxious others. Taking a stand is about knowing when one is reacting to others and when one is representing self to others. Have a great time, learners. Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been your English teacher, Ma'am Pinky, still here in Ang Tangkum. Goodbye!
Hello grade 9 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your TLE teacher in Bread and Pastry Production 9. Our learning competency for today is to store icing or frosting in accordance with establishment standard operating procedure. As a baker, it is important that one should know the proper storage of frosting to maximize its use for future production. Please listen carefully to our discussion because at the end of the lesson, you are expected to store icing or frosting in accordance with establishment standard operating procedure. Most frostings can be stored in the fridge or freezer. However, there are various ways you can store frostings depending on its type. How to store icing or frosting? Boiled icing. Storage note for boiled icing. Be sure to cover tightly but do not refrigerate. If it is not stored airtight, it will begin to set. Once a cake has been frosted with boiled icing, it can be stored at room temperature. Freezing is not recommended. Buttercream frosting. Storage note for buttercream frosting. Buttercream can be stored refrigerated in an airtight container for up to 2 weeks before using. Remove it from the refrigerator at least an hour before using so it will warm to room temperature. It can also be frozen for extended storage. A decorated cake with buttercream frosting can be stored at room temperature for up to 3 days. If you want to refrigerate a decorated cake, place it in the refrigerator and wrap until the frosting hardens slightly. It can be loosely covered with plastic. Cream cheese frosting. The storage note for cream cheese frosting. Cream cheese frosting can be stored in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks before using. Cakes frosted with cream cheese frosting must be stored in the refrigerator. The frosting will firm up when chilled but will soften quickly when it sets at room temperature. Cream cheese frosting can be frozen. Dusting. Storage note for dusting. Many dusting ingredients are shelf-stable items that should be stored accordingly. When applied to the cake, storage time should be followed as to what is appropriate for the type of cake. When using powdered sugar for dusting, it is a good idea to wait to dust the cake just before serving because the cake can absorb the sugar, especially if it is a moist cake. Fondant. Storage note for fondant. Unused fondant can be stored in an airtight container for up to 2 months at room temperature in a cool, dry area. Do not refrigerate or freeze. Store cakes decorated with fondant for up to 3 days at room temperature. Fresh fruit topping. Storage note for fresh fruit topping. Fresh fruits can also be added as a topping to the cake. A cake with fresh fruit topping should only be assembled within a few hours of eating it. The fruit continues to ripen even when refrigerated, and its juices will begin to soak into the cake. If the cake has a cooked fruit topping that does not contain eggs, it can be stored at room temperature for up to 2 days. Refrigerate for longer storage. If the cake is going to be frozen, it is best to wait until the cake is thawed and then add the fresh fruit topping just before it is going to be served. Glaze and syrup. Storage note for glaze and syrup. If a glaze will set at room temperature for a while before being used, it should be kept loosely covered, and if it begins to thicken, set it in a pan of warm water to help loosen. A glaze can be frozen, but its sheen will not be the same and it will need to be reheated. A cake with a glaze or syrup coating should not have to be refrigerated unless the cake has a filling that requires refrigeration. Allow the glaze to cool and harden completely before covering the cake for storing. Meringue style icing. Storage note for meringue style icing. It does not store well as it deflates easily. It is recommended to prepare close to when it is to be used. If storing, it needs to be refrigerated. Royal icing. Storage note for royal icing. Royal icing has a tendency to dry fairly quickly, so it is important to take precautions while using it so it does not dry out before you are finished. It can be stored up to 3 days at room temperature. Be sure to cover the bowl with a damp cloth and then plastic to prevent it from drying out. The icing may separate slightly, but a good stirring will bring it back to a smooth texture. The royal icing on a cake does not require refrigeration. If the cake needs to be covered, the royal icing will be hard, so you do not have to worry about disrupting the decorations. Now let's have an activity. I want you to get your self-learning material in BPP 9 and answer Activity 1. For your next activity, I want you to look for a pair and do Activity 2 in your self-learning materials. For your last activity, please do Activity 3 in your SLM. That's all for our lesson today on the proper storage of frostings. Before we end, always remember that according to Geraldine Thomas, proper storage is about creating a home for something so that minimal efforts is required to find it and put it away. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggub Stars.
What's up, grade 10 star learners? It's a beautiful day to learn another meaningful lesson in English. Still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkub. Before we begin our new lesson, I want to congratulate you all for reaching this far. We are already on the 3rd episode of Quarter 4.
For today's discussion, we will be learning how to give expanded definition of words. It is general knowledge that the goal of communication is shared understanding. What would you do if your audience or readers cannot comprehend the information you have just disseminated?
So, it is our job as writers to make sure that we provide definitions for words that can be potentially difficult for our audience to understand.
Give your undivided attention and listen carefully because at the end of this lesson, you are expected to give expanded definition of words. Giving an expanded definition means distinguishing the characteristics of certain word, providing extra facts or information about it, giving examples and or saying that cannot be included to describe it.
In giving definitions, we must remember that definitions must consist of three parts. First, the term, word, or phrase to be defined. Second, the class of concept or object to which the term belongs. And the third one, the differentiating characteristics that distinguish it from all others of its class. For example, astronomy is a branch of scientific study primarily concerned with celestial objects inside and outside of the Earth's atmosphere. In this example, astronomy is used as the term, branch of scientific study as the class, and concerned with celestial objects inside and outside of the Earth's atmosphere is the differentiating characteristics. An extended definition may explain the word's etymology or historical roots, describe sensory characteristics of something, how it looks, feels, sounds, tastes, and smells, identify its parts, indicate how something is used, explain how it is not, provide an example of it, and or note similarities or differences between this term and other words or things, notes Stephen Reed in the Prentice Hall Guide for College Writers. These are some techniques in giving expanded definitions. Number one is etymology. It is explaining origin of the word itself. The second one, history. If relevant, discussing the history of the terms, its use, controversies associated with it. The third one is cause and effect. It is discussing how the situation came about and what effects it may have. The fourth one is description. It is listing and defining the components parts. The fifth one, principles of operation. It is discussing how topic in question functions, including any special materials or conditions required. The sixth one is classification. It is showing how the topic fits into a larger category. For number 7, it is contrast or negation, which is showing how the topic differs from others in the same class. The 8th one is comparison. It is showing how the topic is similar to others in the class. The 9th one is analogy. It is explaining by comparing two dissimilar topics, where the second is familiar to the audience. The 10th one is examples or anecdotes. It is telling a story or example that illustrates the term. For number 11, it is ramifications, or showing how the term or concept affects people or object. And the last one is evoking the senses. It is using a word that creates a picture in the reader's mind so that the reader might relate through memory of sound, sight, touch, hearing, or smell.
Let us have this example paragraph to guide you with your task later on. To our colonial forefathers, freedom meant having a voice in their government. This is using historical reference. The Revolutionary War was a last resort against the empire that continued to tax its colonists without the representation of the colonists in parliament. Since the United States won the right to rule itself, our country has been referred to as the land of the free and the home of the brave. This is by example. True freedom means the ability to think, feel, say, or act however one chooses. This uses listing parts. It is a state where the bars of bondage do not exist. This is negation. Unfortunately, the widening gap between the haves and have-nots means that some are now shackled by their lack of education. The word shackled evokes the senses. Americans can attain real freedom when everyone has the same educational opportunities.
In the given example, we give the expanded definition of the term freedom through employing 5 different techniques. First, we use historical reference by mentioning how our forefathers have viewed the word freedom. Second, we expand freedom by giving concrete examples. Third, we also list something which might support the given example. Fourth, we also provide what the word is not. This is what we call negation. The fifth and last technique employed in the given expanded definition is through evoking the emotion. Basically, attaching some words that appeal to the emotion is necessary to emphasize the word being defined.
There you have it, dear learners. It is now your turn to show us what you have understood in this lesson. Kindly get your activity sheet in English, read the directions, and do what is expected of you.
A definition can also inform by bringing the reader to a fresh appreciation of something familiar, which is taken for granted. I am pretty sure that you can write a good definition. Aja! Learning shouldn't have to be boring, especially this time of pandemic. Find some things you like doing after finishing this lesson. Surely, you will discover a skill you never thought you are capable of doing.
Go and unleash your full potential, dear learners. Congratulations for finishing this lesson. Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been your English teachers, Mama Halia
And Ma'am Pinky,
still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang
Tangkub. Goodbye!
Hello, grade 10 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your TLE teacher in Housekeeping 10. Our learning competency for today is to identify and discuss the types and usage of laundry chemical and other cleaning agents. As a future hotel housekeeping staff, it is very important for you to have knowledge on the different laundry chemicals so that you can properly wash the laundry in accordance with the hotel's standard operating procedures. Please listen carefully to our discussion because at the end of the lesson, you are expected to identify and discuss the types and usage of laundry chemical and other cleaning agents. There are many types of laundry chemicals used in the laundry service. These chemicals work together to remove stains from clothing and prevent them from redepositing on those fabrics while they are still undergoing the wash cycles. The stains, once they have been neutralized by the detergent, may then be carried away out of the washing machine with the dirty water. Laundry chemicals and other cleaning agents. First, water. Water is a good cleaner, but the chemicals that are added to it penetrate to the soiled items. It is considered as an excellent rinse aid. Water has alkali that is used to neutralize the soils in the linen prior to main washing process. Second, detergents. Detergents are used to wash the linen, allowing water to penetrate the soil and hold it in suspension before rinsing. It has high tolerance to hard water and can stay efficient at all temperatures. Commercial laundry usually use a synthetic kind of detergent. Third, fabric softeners. Fabric softeners used to soften towels and reduce lint. Helps in the ease of ironing of the bed sheets. Starch. Starch is used to present a crisp and fresh appearance. It is added to the final rinse in washing of cotton table linen and chef's jackets. It lays down a protective barrier on the fabric to help prevent stain absorption. Sours or acids. Sours or acids are added in the final rinse to neutralize residual alkalis because if alkalis are not removed, white linen can turn yellow or gray. It also contains optical brighteners. Now let's talk about dry cleaning chemicals. Dry cleaning is a process of cleaning clothes and fabrics by using a chemical solvent that contains little or no water. While cleaning the surface of fabrics, it does not penetrate the fibers like water does in a washing machine. The main types of chemicals used for dry cleaning are the dry cleaning fluids and the pre-spotting chemicals. The most common dry cleaning solvents used today are: first, perchloroethylene. It is a non-flammable chlorinated solvent. It should be stored in a cool, dark place when not in use. It is instrumental in removing solvent-soluble soil, such as oils and greases, among others. It may, however, dissolve decorative items on clothing, such as sequins, beads, some buttons, and synthetic trims. This is the most commonly used dry cleaning solvent. Next is white spirit. White spirit is an original dry cleaning fluid and has been widely used for many years. It is paraffin-based, has good grease removal properties, but is flammable. Next is hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon is a petroleum-based solvent which is flammable. It is more suitable for use on delicate garments but needs a longer wash cycle to allow it to work. Pre-spotting chemicals. Pre-spotting chemicals used on the spotting table usually include the following: ink remover for wet and dry ink, protein remover for blood, feces, egg, milk, perspiration, and soil stains, rust remover for residual blood stains, tannin remover for coffee, tea, red wine, and some fruit juices, all-purpose spot remover for general light soiling stains. Now, let's have an activity. I want you to get yourself learning material in Housekeeping 10 and answer Activity 1. For your next activity, I want you to look for a pair and do Activity 2 in your self-learning materials. For your last activity, please do Activity 3 in your SLM. That's all for today's lesson on the principles of laundering services in hotels. Before we end, always remember that if I can do laundry, I can do anything. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and #Shine Tanggub Stars.
We hope that you have learned the most essential lessons you need to master. See you on our next episodes. This has been Ang Tangkub.
Tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tangkub lang. na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's Tangkop, Tangkop, Tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's Tangkop, Tangkop, Tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's Tangkop, Tangkop, Tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's Tangkop, Tangkop, Tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's Tangkop, Tangkop, Tangkop time. We learn all.
Good afternoon to all our junior high school learners who are watching via FB Live at Dapat Tayo Tanggub and Astral Academy Facebook pages. I am Mama Halia from Santa Maria National High School.
And I am teacher James Mark P. Saporno of Sumirap National High School, and we are your teacher facilitators today. For today, we will be discussing new lessons in your TLE and English subjects that will happen right after this short break. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Alright, so for this afternoon, we will have English 7 lessons first. So our competency is actually to determine the worth of ideas mentioned in the text listened to. Specifically, we have very specific objectives, get the important ideas mentioned in the text listened to, and of course, present the important ideas mentioned using appropriate charts.
That's right.
Okay, so when we talk about listening, it is actually a purposeful and focused rather than accidental. So when you listen, it requires motivation and effort. It requires active, focused, and concentrated attention for the purpose of understanding the meaning expressed by a certain speaker.
Yes. So, why listen? There is no doubt that effective listening is an extremely important life skill. Why is listening so important? Listening serves a number of possible purposes, and the purpose of listening will depend on the situation and the nature of communication.
That's correct. So it is very much important to determine the worth of ideas mentioned in the text listened to, because, of course, speakers can create hundreds of ideas, but none of all these ideas are worth to remember. So most of them give introductory statements that are not so important, for example, to your specific purpose or to the main topic you're concerned of. So they are just flowery words, for example, and that they give life to their speech. So it is very much important that we single out this worth of ideas and should look into how rare these ideas are and how worth keeping.
It is.
Yes.
All right. Now, be guided by the following questions every time you look for the worthy ideas of the text you listen to. First one is, what is the topic of the listening text?
That's correct. So basically, you also need to consider how important is the idea presented in the text. So you need to ask yourself that question. Okay, when you listen next.
Next one is, what is the important idea presented in the text?
Okay. And when we say by discourse markers that emphasize a point, so there are some discourse markers, like for example, the word specially or other discourse markers that any author can use. So by the tone of the speaker's voice, for example, like is it very convincing, is it powerfully stated, no? So the weight, the stress, the intonation, the pattern, all of these actually have an effect on us. So next is that how is the idea being presented? Is it explicitly or clearly, or is it implied or hidden? So some ideas are not maybe they are not stated very much by the author, but we can still understand it through their undertones.
And the next one is the idea presented worth keeping and worth sharing to others? Why?
Okay, that's correct. So this time, you actually can listen to an inspirational speech that can be accessed through the link. So we'll give that to you. So if you have your data with you, you can just watch https://bit.ly/3msi TJ. So you have there you need to do is to determine the worth of ideas mentioned through answering specific questions on the slide. So you have there some questions like the first one is, what is the topic of the listening text? Okay. So yeah, possible answers. These are just some of your guides. Of course, you can answer it or reword it differently. So the topic of the listening text is about life's wonderful journey. Okay, so that's the topic. Next question.
Next question is, how is the idea being presented? So,
okay. Is it explicitly or hidden? So for example, the idea is clearly or explicitly presented by the speaker and it's easy to comprehend. So if there are no metaphor, for example, so that might hamper our understanding of the text, that means that the author really clearly carried out the idea as it is. No turning around or beating around the bush, for example. Next question is,
what is the important idea presented in the text?
okay, so some of your answers might be, some important ideas presented in the text include being courageous and optimistic and having faith in yourself, whatever comes along the way. So yeah, these are specific values that maybe the author would like to inculcate. And
the next question is, what helped you determine the worthy ideas presented?
Okay, so specific or sample answers could be, it is through listening to the tone of the speaker's voice, which sounded so inspiring and positive, and through the use of some discourse markers like indeed, take note, most importantly, always remember, and bear in mind. So these are some of the discourse markers that the author used to emphasize his point.
And the next question is the idea presented worth keeping and worth sharing to others? Why?
Okay, this is also an example response, learners. You can extend more, you can write well. So the idea presented is worth keeping and worth sharing because it would surely inspire others to keep stepping forward in order to reach your dreams or their dreams and goals in life. So basically, this is the purpose, one of the purposes of text. We wanted to inspire, to motivate others, to persuade others that the idea presented are some of the key points in order to succeed at life. So in your activity for your independent practice, that is to listen to the inspirational message again, That can be accessed through a specific link, and then you need to answer the questions inside the idea bulb chart. So this is how it looks like, and there are some questions in it. You just need to fill in with necessary information, just like how we did it a while ago. So that was the given example. That's how you answer it.
Yes, so I know they can do that well.
Yes, very good. So let's proceed to all our grade 8 learners. Hello there. So your competency is actually to
Use appropriate grammatical signals and expressions suitable to each pattern of idea development.
Okay, there are a lot of patterns of idea development. So basically, problem solution is just one. So when we talk about grammatical signals, these are writing devices that serve to maintain text coherence. They're called in different names such as signal words, transitional markers, or cohesive devices. So the pattern of idea development and writing refers to the particular strategy writers use to develop ideas. And the problem solution pattern.
And the problem solution pattern is writing divides information into two main sections, one that describes a problem and one that describes a solution. This pattern is typically used in persuasive writing, where the writer's general purpose is to convince the reader to support a certain course of action.
That's correct. So problem solution example. So we have here how to make an outline, for example. So in the first paragraph, you need to look into the problem. For example, your problem is motorized transportation. And then you have some basic subtopics under it: increasing traffic congestion. You have increasing pollution, increasing road rage, traffic-related stress. And in the part 2 or the next section, you might also talk about, because we're done with the problems encountered, you also need to talk, because it's problem solution, we also need to talk about the possible solutions. Like, for example, riding bicycles. So you might discuss in here why bike riding reduces the number of motorized vehicles in use, and that why bike riding is not a source of pollution, so why it's eco-friendly, for example. We're not adding carbon to the atmosphere, and that bike riding has physical and psychological health benefits. Okay, so these are some of the signal words and phrases that you can use. Okay, we have
Problem, solution, dilemma, puzzle, because, question, answer, solved, cause, since, as a result of, in order to, so that, led to, issue, advantage, and disadvantage.
Okay, that's correct. So, of course, when you write a paragraph, basically, all the aspects of the paragraph, the introduction, the body, and of course, the conclusion must be present. So, in the introduction part, you need to identify the problem in a nutshell. So, it is just a brief overview of what the problem is. Mention also who are concerned about it. If everyone is concerned about it, then yeah, it might create or make an impact to the readers that, of course, we really need to look into this problem. The next one, of course, the problem. Explain the problem clearly. So this is now the context of your writing. Specifically demonstrate that this is not just a personal complaint, for example, or this will not just affect one person, two person, but or maybe an organization, but the entire world, for example, but a genuine problem that affects not just, yes, many people, of course. So like, for instance, the pandemic. So everyone is affected, whether or not you're rich or poor, young or old, something like that. So solution as well. So offer a concrete solution to the problem. If your solution calls for a series of steps or actions to be followed, present these steps in logical order. When we talk about logical order, so you begin with the most important down to the least important. So that could be one. There are a lot of how to organize or to order that one. But basically, we start with an inverted pyramid. We can start with the most important details. And lastly, of course, we provide conclusion. We do not just leave things hanging. So we need to close it, seal it properly, encapsulate, re-emphasize the importance of the problem and the value of your solution, so that your readers might also nod at the end of your paragraph or your essay that, yeah, this author is basically right and that she's making sense. Okay, so for our activity, these are our directions.
Using appropriate grammatical signals or expressions, write a paragraph using problem-solution pattern based on one of the following topics below.
Yeah, the topics could range from poverty, the fake news, climate change, and of course corruption. So these topics are not new to you. Okay, so yeah, some of you might craft a paragraph. Okay, this I will leave this for you for it to read on, and I think you could also find this on your SLM. Stay tuned, there, learners, because right after a very short break, we will proceed with English 9 and English 10. This is still Astral Academy Cyber School.
This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. Come and learn to speak.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. All right, now we will move to English 9.
That is correct. So your competency is actually to react to lay value judgment on critical issues that demand sound analysis and call for prompt action. Specifically, you need to take a stand on critical issue brought up in the material viewed or presented. So grade 9 learners, taking a stand on critical issues is important for students like you for your growth as independent thinkers. So taking a stand on critical issues prepares you to deal with the challenges that you might encounter, which will test your ability on how to make a choice and to take decisions to things and situations that have significance in your life. So this skill would also help you develop a sound framework to test your arguments and, of course, enrich your points of view.
Right, so
All right, so can you name some of the issues around you that you considered very critical or important to you? Okay, some of these issues, or James, could have been
some of these are war on drugs, territorial dispute, teenage pregnancy, same-sex marriage, and a lot of more.
yes, that's correct. So when we say that an issue is critical, it is critical when it affects people, not just people, but many people. However, it also depends on how people deal with the situation or how people look at a certain issue. So it would be wise to take a closer look at the issues that might involve us. Okay. Like, for example, some of the suggestions by a certain author, so a non-government organization in Europe, on taking a stand on the awareness campaign on civic engagement launched in 2017. So these are some of the suggestions of these
Yes.
authors. So how to take a stand. So first one, Sir James, is
So the first one is, of course, to speak up. So engage yourself, make yourself an effort to express yourself honestly and freely.
yes, that's correct. And of course, when you do take the chance to speak up, it is very important also to tolerate and respect. Why? Because, of course, keep an open mind. Other cultures and beliefs must be acknowledged and, of course, respected. So it doesn't mean that we are speaking out our stand, we are voicing what we feel. It doesn't mean that a lot of people will agree
We
on
wrong
us.
them.
Yes, that's correct. There are some of those people might have a different idea, just like the campaign, for
Yes.
example. We have different presidents to vote for. But it doesn't mean that we do not need to respect or to tolerate these ideas.
Exactly. The third one is, of course, to be open-minded. So explore the world, find out other cultures, listen to foreign music, watch foreign films, read books, experience the world, cuisine, and strive to understand other people's belief and, of course, their perspective. active.
That's correct. That's how you enrich life, dear learners.
Mm-mm.
And then, of course, it is important to show solidarity. So, show unity with minorities and assist those who need assistance. So, volunteer and participate in charitable programs as well. So, we are stronger when we work together. So, that's why,
Yes,
yes,
there is
collaboration.
strength in number.
Yes, collaboration is important.
And the next one is be active. Don't keep your mouth shut. Raise your voice and use it for good, of course.
That's correct. So taking favorable or unfavorable stand to an issue involves your skill in decision making. So it's you who will decide which one is favorable for you. So hence, there are several important factors you may use as basis of making your decision. So these may include, of course, we have different values.
Yes.
We have different emotion, our influence, the influence coming from our family, from our friends, the age, for example, with great age, for example, according to
Yes.
them, with the coming of the snow of the hair, there's wisdom. So supposedly, it should be like that. So lifestyle, occupation, the upbringing, of course, your gender orientation, for example, the stages in life cycle, your education, the beliefs, your economic status, and of course, the effect and consequences are also important in taking a stand. All right, so this time, their learners to take a stand, for example, in critical issue viewed or presented in the given text, we need to answer very specific questions, such as
Yes. First question, what is your stand on the issue presented?
That's
On the
correct.
picture, right?
Yes, basically because there are two main stand, the pros and the cons, for example. Like if you have this picture, what is this one? Like this, there's a man. Yeah, it seems like there's a chain.
Carrying.
Yeah, there's a chain on the on the foot. Is it on the foot? Yeah, it is.
Ankle.
And ankle, yes, correct.
Yes.
That's okay. And you have there the phone, of course.
Mm-mm.
It's as if, what is this telling us? It's as if that this man is burdened.
Yes, maybe he is
He is.
carrying the phone
Yes.
with a lot of
Baggages.
loads.
Yes, for example. So it might be, supposedly the cell phone can help us, right?
Mm-mm.
But in this given picture, it seems to us that it's not a help. It's a burden on the man carrying it. It's quite
Yes.
bigger than him, for example. So yeah, you need to ask questions about what helped you decide to favor or disfavor the issue, and what did you use as a basis in your decision making. And if you would be given the opportunity to talk to someone regarding the issues, whom would you talk to and why? So maybe some people who would like to listen to them.
Yes, especially now that people are very much, so much attached with their mobile devices.
That is correct. Okay, so it is also important to talk with not so judgmental people so that they will
Yes.
also listen to you. So these are the possible answers for number one. As I see the man in the picture carrying on his back a mobile phone chained to his leg. Okay, by stand to this, so this is an example, we have to limit ourselves from using social media. Limit the use of social media. Yeah, it's also true. We need to
Or
live a life.
mobile games.
Yes, that's correct. Number two?
Yes. Number 2 is for question number 2. The answer would be, I had decided not to favor this because the chain and the weight of the big mobile phone represent the consequences we might suffer if we are addicted with this hobby. Our privacy is at stake if we do not put limitations to all the things we personally post in social media.
Yes, that's correct. And I do agree that life is really a balancing act. So what did you use as a basis? For example, your basis in making the decision is the consequences that that decision might bring. So seeing the effects of social media addiction, particularly among the youth, is a cause of worry. So that could be a reason.
And for the next question, if you would be given the opportunity to talk to someone regarding the issues, whom would you talk and why? So the possible answer would be, I would speak to the youth that they should be responsible in using their social media so that they would not suffer its consequences.
That's correct. And for your activity or for your independent practice, that is for you to study the given cartoon. This is actually an editorial cartoon, and take a stand whether you favor or disfavor the issue presented through answering the questions that follow. So you have there the questions. We will no longer read them. That's for you to answer on
Yes.
your SLM. All right, so you can do it. So hello there to all our grade 10 learners. Your competency is to give expanded definitions of words. So what is an expanded definition?
So, giving an expanded definition means distinguishing the characteristics of a certain word, providing extra facts or information about it, giving examples, and or saying what cannot be included to describe it. In giving definitions, we must remember that definitions must consist of three parts. The first one is the term or the word or phrase to be defined. Next, the class of object or concept to which the term belongs. And the third one is the differentiating characteristics that distinguish it from all others of its class.
And there are also a lot of techniques to give expanded definitions. These are actually found on your SLM, so we'll just skip to them. You have etymology, you have history, the cause and effect, description, the principle of operation, the classification, and you also have contrast and negation, comparison, analogy, example or anecdotes, and you have ramifications, and lastly, evoking the senses. You might be able to think of some other else's, but those are just some of your guide on how to make an expanded definition. So this is an example of an expanded definition using examples or by exemplification. So we are defining the word speed. So speed is a concept that marks our time. So everybody is in a hurry to go somewhere. Industry, for instance, is constantly demanding new inventions that will speed up production so that the constant cry for bosses to the workmen is speeded up. The maker of automobiles, for example, boasts the newest type of car which is faster than the old model. So in the same way, the shoppers push and shove each other all about the counters, much likely when they are all in a hurry to get something. And in the same way, people who are not going to school, shop, or office, who are rather going to school, shop, or office, rush breathlessly to do important tasks. Basin malate. Yes, exactly. So, on your SLM, what you're to do is to pick any of the related health, hygiene, sanitation topics in any of these and write or define them. Write a paragraph, an essay, for example, that define them. So you have their guides on how to get 100% score, 90%, and so on and so forth. So, yes, thank you so much to all our English from grade 7 to 10 learners. So more discussions after a short break.
This is Astral Academy Cyber School. we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. All right, before we proceed to our next lesson or subject, please do mind of the second attendance marker flashed on your
top of your
screen.
screen. Yes, that's correct. So, hello there to all our TLE learners, TLE 7.
Yes.
So, our learning competency, the one that we would like you to understand and to perform is to discuss the proper tool selection.
All right. So, of
All
course,
right.
a tool is a handheld device that aids in accomplishing a task. Tools range from a traditional metal cutting part of a machine to an element of a computer program that activates and controls a particular function. So, of course, today we will be talking how to properly select tools. Of course, no, ang ato yung hinumduman ana class is that we need to prepare and select the tools that will be necessary for the specific
Purpose,
action that you will take.
Yes, exactly. And of course, it is very much important that we also consider our safety in using this tool. So once you're able to select already the
Yes.
specific tools, so it is now very important that you also decide how to use them. Not all tools come with detailed instructions, but if they have detailed instructions, just read them, follow
Yes,
them.
mostly from the manufacturer's
Yes, that is
instruction. That is one of the basic thing we need to learn before using any of the tools so that we are safe
Yes.
and as well as our equipment and
Okay,
tools.
that is correct.
All right. Now for your activity, you are just to answer a given essay question.
Wow.
That is to discuss the importance of selecting the proper tools in doing a specific task.
All right.
All
So
right. Now we
have
will move to
TLE 8. Okay. Your competency is to identify and describe carpentry materials and their function. So when we talk about carpentry materials, it is an area of industrial arts which makes use of the variety of materials. So there are a lot of materials from lumber down to their
yes,
classifications.
exactly. So
And
kabalo
all of
mo when
these-
we say carpentry, di
Yes.
na mawala ng mga kahoy,
Of
mga lumbers na
course.
to, mga wood boards and the like. So all of those are specified already, printed on your SLM. You just need to read carefully and
Yes.
understand each definition.
And they're also given examples and
Yes.
also pictures.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, what we need to do, need to do is just to identify them. So it is very easy. So what is being referred to in each of the statement, for example. So let's read one, give them one bonus, for example. So what
Yes.
tool? It is an accessory which is used to fasten two pieces of wood that are movable.
Yes.
So like window panels, doors, cabinets, trunks, chest, and boxes.
Boxes.
So what's the answer?
Of course, the answer to that is letter A, hinge.
Okay, so
Right? So that is a bonus answer because you are
Yes.
watching with us right now. Congratulations. Now we
Okay.
will move to our grade
TLE
9 TLE
9.
bread and pastry production subject. Our learning competency is to maintain the product freshness, appearance, and eating qualities in accordance with the establishment standards and procedures, particularly in storing cakes. So, of course, when we bake, kinahanglan kabalo pud taon sa nato sila pag-store ang atong mga cakes para
Yes.
mas madugay sila.
ilang shelf life.
Exactly.
Okay.
And of course, naman tayo nagkalain-laing classes sa cake such as the angel food cake
Which one
and
is your favorite?
butter
Sir
cake,
James?
chocolate cake. Ako ang favorite good ma'am is probably right now is cheesecake, any kind of
I see.
cheesecake.
I
But
like
of course, kay
blueberry.
lain-lain man na siya material. So lain-lain pud siya og storage way. So all those storage way are already printed on your SLM so that you can read it carefully, para mas kuan gid nato no kay mas mahibaw-an nato unsa una to sila pag-store kay
Okay.
lain pod sila og storage note
Alright.
depende sa klase sa cake. And in your SLM for your activities,
That
sayon
is
na
to
kaayo.
discuss. Okay? Discuss how to store the different types of cakes.
Yes, so chiffon cakes, sponge cakes, butter
Angel
cakes,
cake.
and the likes.
Yes, that's correct. So for our English then, TLE housekeeping, your competency is to discuss the principles of laundering, such as collection and transportation, arrival, and sorting. So
All
these are
right. So
some
this is
steps.
under actually in your housekeeping class. This is actually under your laundry, providing laundry service to the guests. So when you say laundry procedures in a hotel, it can be categorized into three. First one is the preliminary laundry activities, the actual laundry activities, and then the post laundry activities. So in the preliminary laundry activities, diri mahitabo ang i-collect ang katong mga soiled linens, then i-sort, and then i-transport sa laundry room. Sa actual laundry activities, of course, diri mahitabo ang pag-washing itself, pag-rinse, and then pag-dry. And then sa post-laundry activities, diri na po mahitabo ang pag-plancha and pag-segregate sa mga items back to their owners.
Okay, so exactly. So these are very much important things, and your activity, you need to enumerate the steps
of the following laundry activities below, which are the pre-laundry, the actual laundry, and the post-laundry activities.
Yes, that's correct. So you can just watch, visit your SLM again in order for you to answer them. So I think it's a bonus already for them. So thank you so much to all our junior high school learners for watching with us.
Yes, but before that, of course, please take note of the third and final attendance marker for our junior high school
learners. Okay, it's on top of your screen again. So we'd like to thank the production team and of course to our dear learners. And this has been Mama Halia from Santa Maria National High School.
And this has been Teacher James from Sumirap National High School saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggub Stars.
Okay.
This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Bye everyone. See you again next week, same time. Bye-bye.